I used to have a dog, a female. She was a bitch. And she was my dog when I was in town, so we were familiar with each other when she came to live with me in the chakra. And she used to follow me everywhere I went, like dogs do. And there was one particular morning, after being with me for a couple of weeks, that I noticed she was barking like hell at some undergrowth. And I stopped my work to go over and see what was going on. And I couldn't see it, but there must have been an animal in the undergrowth. It might have been a snake. But I was thinking to myself, dogs are supposed to be intelligent. That animal's not going to come out of your barking at it like that. The animal's probably going to think it's going to get eaten. But anyway, a couple of weeks later, I saw the dog stalking an animal, but it wasn't barking at all. And it was then that it occurred to me that the dog was barking the first time because it wanted to scare the animal out of the undergrowth. The dog couldn't get to whatever animal it was, so it was trying to scare it out. So yeah, dogs are very intelligent animals. There's actually a test that animal psychologists carry out to demonstrate the relative intelligence of animals. And what they do is they restrain an animal on one side of a length of wire fence, tall wire fence, so the animal can't get over the top. And on the other side of the fence, they place a plate of tasty food. Now, when the animal's a dog and they release the dog has already figured out that it can't get through the fence, it can't get over the fence, so it's got to go round the end. So immediately the dog runs for the end of the fence and it jumps, goes round the other side, gets to the food. That's the intelligence of a dog. A cat, on the other hand, when you release it, will go straight for the food, and then it encounters the fence and then thinks, got a problem here. And the cat starts to pace up and down, left and right. And eventually it paces far enough to realise it can get round the end of the fence. It goes round the end of the fence and goes straight for the food. When the animal is a chicken, the chicken goes straight for the fence and starts to stick its head through the wire on the fence. But it can't get through. It can't get to the food. And the chicken will carry on trying to get through that fence until it starves to death. And that's the intelligence of a chicken. Now, cats must be the most beautiful member of the animal kingdom there is. But they're nasty creatures. Talking only about domestic cats at the moment, a male cat will fight with another male to the death over territory. And a male cat also, if it comes across a female that has kittens and those kittens don't belong to him, he will kill every single one of them. And I've seen it happen. They're nasty creatures. And they're selfish as well. If a cat comes up to you and it's rubbing itself up against your legs, it's because it wants food. If you're sitting down and the cat jumps up on your lap, it's because it wants attention to its coat. And that attention to its coat is important. The purring of a cat is important. It vibrates all their internal organs, massaging them. So it's important for a cat to purr. And that's what the cat gets out of it. The cat has jumped up on your lap because it wants attention. Anybody who thinks that their cat loves them is deluded. So there was a German woman in town. Okay, she was in her early 40s, unmarried, goes by the name of Dorina. And Dorina had discovered ayahuasca and decided that she wanted to spend 6 months of the year living in the Amazon jungle. She'd built herself a lovely 2-story wooden house in the forest about 2 miles out of town. And that's where she'd spend her time meditating and being amongst the plants and all that kind of jungle spiritual stuff that ayahuasca freaks do. Now the thing is, Dorina had a cat. This cat was a female, but it was quite big for a female, but it had a pure white, pure as the driven snow coat on it. And a strange characteristic of this cat is one of its eyes was brown and the other was blue. I've never seen that in any animal before, let alone a cat. If I'd taken a photograph of this cat, you'd think it had been photoshopped. But the problem is, every 6 months, Dorina would go back to Germany to check out her business and renew her visa. So she had to arrange for a family in town to look after the cat while she was gone. No problem. Anyway, come the morning of her departure, they couldn't find the frickin' cat. They were going to stuff it in one of these carry cages and take it into town. Couldn't find it though. She was going to miss a boat. If she missed a boat, she'd miss the plane, and so on and so forth. So Dorina had to accept that they had to give up on the cat. Just leave it and hope for the best. Anyway, about a month or two later, the guy who was looking after her house, he invited me to an ayahuasca ceremony there in her house. And I thought, thank you very much, I think I'll accept. And I showed up at the house at about 4:30 in the afternoon. There was nobody else there while I was there. But this cat came out of the forest. Now, I'd never seen this cat before. The cat had never seen me before. But the cat was in incredibly good condition. And I knew Dorina had a cat, and I thought, nobody's been looking after that cat. And yet, it must have been hunting animals, rodents in the forest, rodents and birds, I guess. But it had been starved of attention. So it came straight over to me and rubbed itself up against my legs. So anyway, I went in the house and sat down, and the cat jumps up on my knee. The cat wouldn't leave me alone. It was doing my freaking head in, to be perfectly honest. But it was starved of attention. So we held the ceremony, and the guy who'd invited me, he was the one whose family were going to look after the cat. So he took the opportunity to grab this cat and take it into town. Now, here's the sad thing. I didn't see that cat again for another couple of months, but the next time I saw it in this guy's house, it was emaciated, it was thin, it was in a terrible state. And it occurred to me that the cat was looking after itself better in the forest than the family were looking after it in the town. The family were giving it cat biscuits. I don't know what they put in cat biscuits, but cats don't like them. So yeah, cats are perfectly capable of looking after themselves. I've got a friend in town called Miguel. And Miguel's family have a bodega in their house. You know, a little shop, a little store in their house. And they were selling some things that rats like. So then they had a rat problem. So they got a cat. Then they had a cat problem. The cat was a female. Animals, dogs, cats, they don't get neutered here. The service doesn't even exist in the vet. If you take your cat to the vet and say, please can you spay this cat, they'll say, no, we don't really have the facilities for that. We can give your cat an injection, or we can give it some pills. Yeah, we can do that. And we've got rubber gloves so we can stick our finger up the cat's ass, but we don't have the facilities to operate. It just doesn't exist. What does that mean? It means there's too many cats around, there's too many freaking dogs around. So yeah, on the positive side, we get the opportunity to see cats with a litter, we see dogs with a litter. That's quite nice to see, because they're a rare sight in the UK, where practically every animal gets neutered within a couple of months. So yeah, this, what do you know? this surprised me, but their cat got pregnant. Ended up having a litter of 5 kittens. Now, you can't sell kittens in town because there's too many cats. So what you got to do is try and give them away. And what Miguel had managed to do is give away 3 of them. They were left with 2 kittens, a male and a female. So you think, now he's got 3 cats. He's not got 2, he's got 3. Now, the mother is a female. One of the kittens is a female. The other kitten is a male. They come up with this bright idea of only keeping the male. And what they were going to do is stuff the 2 females in a sack and then take it to my chakra. To my freaking chakra. And then release them in the wild. Now, I just didn't really want them to do this, I'll be perfectly honest, just because I didn't want cats in the chakra. But They didn't have anywhere else to release them. I saw the predicament. I didn't know the cats didn't know me, so I wasn't really going to have a problem. And I knew from the experience of Dorina's cat that the cats could look after themselves perfectly well in the forest. Yeah? So, yeah, that's what happened. Wonderful. Except as many as maybe 4 months later, I'd seen nothing of these cats. Then all of a sudden, I hear this meowing coming from some undergrowth. I'm thinking, what the hell? And I go over to the undergrowth, and it's the kitten. It's the female kitten. I couldn't believe it. And, I mean, yeah, I've got a bit of a soft touch for cats. I do actually like cats. As much as I might sound like I don't like cats, I like cats. So I try and coax the cat out. I think the cat's crying for something, and I couldn't see any sign of the mother. So whether the mother had been got by a snake or I don't know. Either way, she wasn't with her mother. But every time I approached, the cat would run away. So in the end, I put a plate of food down. It was just some tuna from a can. But the problem is, it wouldn't come and eat the food while I was there. So I would leave the food, walk away, and then come back in half an hour, and the food was full of freaking ants. So it still hadn't eaten anything. I thought that cat must be hungry. And it keeps meowing, it constantly meowing. Eventually the cat, after days, the cat would pluck up the courage to run out of the undergrowth up to me, rub itself against my legs, and then run off again before I had a chance to grab it by the scruff of the neck and throw it in a pot of boiling water. I don't know what it thought it was going to do. It thought it didn't trust me. But a few more days went by, and it got more and more trusting, more and more brave, and eventually it would jump up on my knee. I would feed it, and now I've got a freaking cat. I didn't want a cat, but now I've got a freaking cat. Thanks, Miguel. Anyhow, this is the cat. And if you want to know why she's behaving that way with me, it's because she loves me. Oh, and I have to stop calling her a she as well. It's nothing to do with that wokeism, pronoun, LGBTQ nonsense. It's because she started growing testicles.